Welcome along to 98 Not Out, the cricket podcast. In today's episode, we are joined by fellow podcast experts from Stumps, Umps and Beer Pumps. Ian Livingston and Richard Mercer join us tonight. Remember, if you like our stuff, tell your friends, spread the word, help us grow. Without any further ado, let's get into it. Evening, everyone. Welcome along. There's myself, Darren Mutu, and
it's me, Paul Webb.
And me, Ian Livingston.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, Ian. Yeah, and it's me, Richard Mercer, if we're going down that road. Yeah.
Welcome along, guys. It's great to have you along. So, Stumps, Umps, and Beer Pumps. Brilliant title. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about that?
You can't just say it. You got to sing it.
Yeah, you've got to do the old jingle.
We haven't got Rick here.
Beer Pumps.
There you go.
Yeah. Do you want us to tell you how it all came about?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, well, it started in lockdown, essentially. Myself and one of my fellow podcasters and fellow members of Winsall near Winfield, we decided to go and paint the pavilion one day.
As you do.
We were there for 2 weeks doing it. So essentially, we'd got a lot of time to kill. We were social distancing, I hasten to add, if anybody's listening from the government. And we came up, one of the local lads that we know does a podcast for Burton Albion. And Neil said to me, have you listened to it? I said, yeah, it looks pretty good. Shall we do something? So we faffed about for a couple of weeks and downloaded a bit of software, put a bit of music to it, and it was crap. So we shelved it.
That was the technical term we came up with.
We got taken off. We got taken off furlough. We shelved it, and about 8 months later, I think it might have been, Ian came across and said, "Shall we do a podcast?" And I said, "Don't steal our thunder, Ian." You know. So anyway, we got together, and then we invited the fourth member along, a guy called Rick Neal, who's a sound and vision engineer. So he does all the technical bit. And Stumps, Umps and Beer Pumps was born. And I think Ian can probably explain where the name comes from.
Well, it's dead simple. Our marketing guru. Yeah, I'm the one who spends my life in sales and marketing, but our marketing guru is actually Neil Winfield, Windows, who's on the podcast. If we're ever unsure about what to call a pod, we go to Neil. He's the one. He's the one responsible for most of the names of our pods. Strangely enough, and Beer Pumps is dead simple. You know, we're in Burton upon Trent. We're the home of the British brewing industry. And then when you link that to his Stumps, Umps, and I think we went around 2 or 3 different names, but Stumps, Umps and Beer Pumps has just stuck there now, hasn't it?
It just fit well, didn't it?
Yeah, really? Definitely.
So that's where we come from. And what, 22 episodes later or something, is it?
Yeah, 22 episodes later.
You in the bank still?
We're still, I mean, the best way to put it, guys, is we are still 100% club cricket first and foremost. And what I always say to people, it doesn't matter whether I'm talking to you guys or whether I'm talking to, and we've had the privilege of doing this, to Mickey Arthur at Derbyshire. We still want to know what Mickey thinks of club cricket local. We want to know what the tips are for club cricket. We want to know, how does Wayne Madsen, beautiful man that he is, how does he actually sort of get himself ready for the season? What could a club cricketer do? We bring it round to that all the time, because whether we like it or not, that's what 99% of our listeners are. They're club cricketers and club cricket fans.
You mentioned Wayne Madsen. Our last podcast, or maybe the last but one, I can't remember now, I'm getting confused myself, was with a Twitter guru, WG Rumblepants.
Yeah,
who's got drawn a beautiful picture, hasn't he?
Yeah. And I think he's not quite finished of Wayne, is it? But he's getting there. But his work is absolutely incredible.
It's just a photograph almost. It's just fantastic work.
I listened to that one today, and I must admit, I'm just blown away by anyone being able to do any sort of art, but to do it on an iPad, it's just second to none.
I must admit, I like the one Nasser was saying. That is fantastic. Really,
they're all good. They're all good. But he's getting noticed now, which is great. I mean, he just does it for his own. You know, as he said on that chat, he doesn't sell them. He doesn't.
Yeah.
But
how do you sell them if they're on an iPad? I'm not sure how that works, to be honest.
You've got some intellectual property, I'm sure, there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Print them off and sign them, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
So you guys are Burtonians, and as you sort of mentioned there, it always has been the brewing capital of this country.
Absolutely.
Now, obviously, Brewers and like everything else has gone through. Who's left? I mean, and I know Marston's is still around, but it used to be
I
all
can
kinds there.
fill you in a little bit on this. So basically, you've still got Marston's. Bass Brewery was the main one. It's the oldest trademark in the world. Unfortunately, Molson Coors came and took over and literally painted over all the Bass triangles in the town, which was a complete and utter travesty. And there used to be pubs with the gable end with the Bass triangle on, and it was great to see. Now it's just been painted over and history almost forgotten. But it's still brewed there. And then you've got Iron Coots was the other brewery. And then you've got loads of microbreweries, like a lot of towns these days. But yeah, there's the Bridge Brewery. I'd be remiss not to mention those. But yeah, it's the reason for the brewing industry in Burton is the quality of the water. The monks, donkeys years ago, discovered the wells under the town, and there's literally the purity of the water. And that's where one of the names of the beers comes from, 61 Deep, which is a Marston's beer that you may have heard of or even tried, I guess. So
you can tell who's the drinker between us, can't you?
Yeah. I used to work for some of the breweries, so that's I know a bit about it. So.
And I couldn't give you any of that because I'm a Scouser.
Well, enough said about that. Enough said about that.
Although, to be fair, I've been in Burton now and lived in Burton 25 years. And Burton's home, full stop, end of story. Yeah. But although, as I tell most people, it's actually Winshill where we are is actually home rather than Burton because I don't want to be associated with other parts of it.
So you just mentioned before that you come from a club meeting tonight. So what's the club that you're both involved with?
So we are Winshill Cricket Club.
Winshill Cricket Club playing in the Derbyshire District League. We've got 3 teams now, and the third team's just come on stream this year. So first team playing Division 3 South of the Derbyshire District League, second team in Division 6, and the third team in Division 10 just joined the league. So we play all around Derbyshire and doing pretty well. The club's expanding very quickly with the help of people like Ian and obviously all the members and helpers underneath that.
Yeah, I mean, long story, very short. 8 years ago, I got heavily involved in the club for the first time. Even though I've lived here 25 years, my career didn't allow me to. But 8 years ago, got involved and I inherited 6 juniors. 6 juniors playing quick cricket, and that was it. And this year we'll break 80 juniors across 4 or 5 different age groups. We've got hardball going across 13s, under 11s, quick cricket, all stars, all the usual stuff. And it's just, I mean, it's getting to the point where we've had to have longer net sessions in the winter, separate sessions for the juniors. Because of the third team, as Mars has just said, we've now had to get a second ground, which happens to be our local high school, which is, you can literally hit a golf ball between the high school and our own ground, which is great. But it's just expansion all the time. And I think we're big believers between the guys who run the club. You build it, they will come. There's no 2 ways about it. And we're building quite a sort of nice reputation around the local areas, being a nice club to come to as well. We don't pay professionals. We don't have extensive. What would you describe? We've got a great bar, but we don't have massive amounts of. We don't have a car park, for example, so we don't have that much space.
Well, I think we're a small club. We always say we've got big ambitions, and I think we pride ourselves in what we do off the field as well. Ian's a guru in social media, and if you follow our club and our podcast social media, you'll see that it's second to none. The quality of it is amazing.
Give it a plug. What are the hashtags or the follows?
It's at Winshill CC and at Stumps and Beer Pumps. So have a search for those, and you'll see on the social media is very, very active. There's stuff going on all the time, and the graphics that Ian produces is brilliant. And on top of that, we've been quite forward thinking. We live stream all our home games as well. So brilliant. First and second team live stream on using MV Play, which has been a huge success. We started it 18 months ago, and it's fantastic. So automatic highlights packages, the players love it. They can go home at night, click on their 5 wickets, and they can see a highlights package of what they've done that day.
We won't say what they also look through for that decision that they didn't get. That ends up on the WhatsApp group.
I think it was last season, the first ball of the season.
Very first ball.
It's Keith. What's his name? Keith.
It was it was Keith at Etwall, Keith Cheetham at Etwall, bowled at
Cheetham. He's at the Etwall goat, and he basically trundles in off about 20 yards, bowls on the spot every single ball. But he's a great batter as well. And he got one of our lads plumb. I think it was first ball of the season, and it wasn't given. And everybody's looking at. We actually sat with their lads in the pavilion afterwards, reviewing the footage, and the umpire was there. You've got to be careful it doesn't overspill and get a bit of a witch hunt for the umpires, but it would cause some great fun. And the camera's been a huge boon for us, to be fair, huge boon. And we're going to hopefully get sponsorship through it as well and run some adverts on it. So. Because the fees are going to go up this year, which they've not really passed the fees on before because of the COVID situation. But I think So we are quite forward thinking when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Talking of forward thinking, if you don't mind another plug here, guys, you've got a local club not too far from you called Hornchurch Cricket Club.
Yes.
I've been backing them from our podcast. I've been backing them massively in the European Cricket League this week. They did a great job 3 weeks ago to get through the group stages. For anyone who doesn't know, I mean, we all take the mickey out the European cricket leagues. We see all this funny stuff that's on That's So Village and all of that type of stuff. What we don't realise until you get stuck into it is there's 31 teams playing over the last 4 or 5 weeks. These are the national champions from each country. And Hornchurch were the T20 national champions. They qualified to therefore go out there. They got through their group stages and they're in Champions Week this week. And some of the quality of the hitting I have seen this week
big hits.
is second to none. Absolutely second to none. George Hankins, who plays for Hornchurch, owns the batting. He would fit into any Premier League team in the entire country. There's no two ways about it. And I'd urge anyone who's listening, back Hornchurch the rest of the week. They've got a couple more games. Hopefully, I did say to them, you've got to bring the European Cup back to England. It really shouldn't go to Spain or somewhere like that, should it? Just not quite right, is it?
It's just coming from a Liverpool fan, is it?
I was just going to say that. Mind you, I can't say too much.
We've won it 6 times, but we don't mind making it 7, do we, Rich?
No, mate.
It's funny, George Hankins, I nearly signed him for Billericay. I've just stood down as chairman at Billericay, but we won't go into that. But last season, after being at the club since 1979, but we won't go into that. I'm not bitter and twisted or angry or anything, and it's not politics and whatever. But
that's club cricket. That's club cricket.
It is club cricket. But I was a fag paper away from getting George Hankins at Billericay at this time last year. And he came down and met everyone and, he sort of seemed happy enough. And then Hornchurch came in at the last minute and swooped him away. Mainly because Billericay had been relegated at that point. So, Hornchurch was still in the Premier League. But we managed to get, as a replacement, a young lad called Grant Rollifson, South African. I don't know if you're familiar with that name.
I know the name, yeah.
Who got picked up by, he came to Billericay, he scored 172 on his opening game without really trying. And I think basically for the whole season, he was getting hundreds left, right and centre. And the 2 times he didn't, the team lost. And it was actually quite embarrassing, his percentage of the runs. But he got picked up by Essex and did well for them in the Royal London 50 Over Cup.
Yeah.
And has been smashing it in the SA20 in South Africa this winter.
Is he coming back for you guys this season?
No, he is. Yeah, there's been a lot of people ask that, and I think there was a meeting at Essex recently where the CEO sort of stood up there and said, "Oh yes, Grant Rollifson's coming back to Billericay, and he's going to be playing white ball cricket for Essex." Until someone prodded him and said with a bit of paper, "No, he's signed for another county, and he won't be coming back anywhere near Essex this year."
Okay,
but you're right. The club cricket does produce these outstanding players. Webby is chairman down at Brentwood, and he's had Chris Green the last couple of years. He's been performing miracles.
Well, yeah, Chris Green was pretty decent for a couple of years. Adam Zampa wasn't too shabby either.
Oh, right. Nick Winter,
Shane Shillingford, Jason Holder, Darren Sammy. We've had a few.
Yeah. Round our way, what's more likely to happen, and it happened last season quite a lot, is the professionals from Derbyshire who are not playing get farmed out. But then I think they took farming out to a level that I've never seen before last season, because there was a Friday night. It was Derbyshire versus Nottinghamshire. It was the local derby, Sky Sports. Finished at 10:30, wherever it was. George Scrimshaw bowled for Derbyshire that night. He got home about midnight. But the next day, he rocked up to play for his club, Dunstall, against Ralston in the Derbyshire County Cricket League Division 1. And I always say to people, that would never happen in any other professional sport. The only thing that Scrimmy was not allowed to do, he wasn't allowed to bowl. But he scored 60-odd as a batter, which is just unheard of because he ain't a bloody batter in a million years. But just that's the difference between pro cricket and pro everything else, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, we're sat here on a Wednesday evening. It's all dark and a bit blowy round our way. But we are on the precipice of the English cricket season for 2023. And I know we are near because a headline just reached me a little while ago that Hampshire and Sussex's pre-season friendly, due to start tomorrow, has been cancelled due to heavy rain.
Yeah.
But this is a season to look forward to, isn't it? I mean, whatever level, whether you're club level, county or international level, what are you guys looking forward to most at whatever level?
I'll go first on that. I mean, at club level, I think what I'm looking forward to most is seeing the club continue to progress. Our goal is to get the first team up into Division 2, which would be a huge achievement, our highest ever standard. Get the second team up closer to the first team so that anybody who's swapping and changing teams isn't playing two different levels of cricket. See the third team progress, but more importantly, grow the juniors because they're the lifeblood of the club, and we need to keep backfeeding that junior section to feed into the seniors. I'm looking forward to going to the Ashes at Headingley, which I always do, and I can't wait for that. So, and looking forward to trying and seeing as much Derbyshire cricket as possible. I now work for Staffs Cricket. There we go, somewhere there. I get paid to work in cricket now, which I've been working in cricket for 35 years, but this is the first time I get paid for it.
You call it work?
That's it is working. I don't care what you say, but it's that's something I'm looking forward to working and developing with Staffs Cricket as well. Smaller county, but still great fun and some great work that being done out there by all the coaches and volunteers. Really good stuff.
And we're very lucky through the podcast and what Rich does do for Staffordshire, joking apart. We see so much good stuff going on, not just locally, but around the country. I mean, I'm in touch with clubs from Hampshire, from the Wirral, the North East, Norfolk, Suffolk, who are in touch with us through the podcast. And to see the stories and what they're doing around the country. Everyone's in that same mode right now, that sort of, can the weather sort of bugger off and get sunny? We want to be back out there on the green stuff properly. Yeah. There's a bit too much rain around there, but we're all just raring to go. Everyone's got pre-season friendlies ready to rock on with, and I think it's the 15th for most people, or the 22nd that the leagues seem to start, which isn't far away, as you say. But it's then I think that for the first time in a long time, the county championship starts a couple of weeks before the club cricket season does by a mile. And then we've got this funny calendar, haven't we? Where is it July that the Ashes is run?
Yeah,
and effectively August.
You've got the 100, so the Ashes is on, which is I don't think happened in 130 odd years, is it, where we've not had an Ashes.
It's all done and dusted by the end of July, isn't it? The Ashes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we've got no Ashes test in August, which, as I say, in all the history, I don't think it's when we've hosted the Ashes over it, I don't think it's ever happened. But
I look forward to August though for the women's 100, to be frank, because the quality of that last season was second to none. The women's and girl game is rocketing like nothing else we've ever seen before. Across club, county, the full works. And I'll be very interested to see this year what the women's 100 does on the back of the women's IPL that's just been going on, and the quality again and the money that's starting to come through there.
Well, just to show you, I did some figures yesterday, and in Staffs we've had, I think we've had just under 800 participants for All-Stars cricket, of which 250 of those are girls. Now that's a fantastic uplift. That really tells you something, really.
I saw a comment last week that said the men's game didn't need the 100, but women's game did.
Yeah,
which I
agree.
I think the women's game would have had the impact of the 100 had it gone alone without the men's game running alongside.
So, yeah, we need to just sex up the Vitality Blast, and that's it, really. But it's the franchise system that's.
Well, we've been saying that on our. I mean, we used to be on the radio every week, but then and on various podcasts since, we've been saying that just apply the marketing lessons from the 100 to the Blast, and bingo, your quid's in.
Exactly.
And that helps the county. Now, talking of counties, in the East, I know you guys are Derbyshire, but there's a lot of interesting stuff going on at the moment. And the thing that's caught my eye as we approach the county season is what's going on at Leicester. And we've seen some terrific looking stadium development plans there. Have you guys got an inside track on what's going on there?
Well, I was very lucky to go to a meeting. It was a bit of a network sort of business meeting over at Leicester about a month and a half, 6 weeks ago now. I was a part of the Leicester business community. And Sean Jarvis, the CEO of Leicester County Cricket Club, gave a bit of presentation on what they've done to change their branding and start to go green, as they call it, with the fox and really push on. And he just happened to slip out that there was also these plans to change the stadium shape, size, everything, the whole area. His marketing people had kittens because he was, what are you going to show them? You shouldn't really be telling them anything right now. But then we've all seen the announcements in the last week or two, what he's put out there, and they've just got something going. Sean Jarvis, who's the CEO there, is ex-Huddersfield Town, and he was the CEO at Huddersfield Town when he took them into the Premier League. He told a phenomenal story. He'd be a great guest for you. He told a phenomenal story about when Huddersfield went into the Premier League, and he got the phone call from the Premier League to say, right, we're going to be in next Thursday to come and start and do our due diligence for the following season. They turned up. First thing they said is, who's your financial man? We want all your bank account details. Next thing, on the Friday morning, they click on their bank account and X millions has just dropped into their bank account like that from the Premier League. There's your payment. You're in the Premier League. Get on with it for next season. And I can't remember what the number was, but it was a number that made everyone in the room go, yeah. And it's the sort of numbers that in cricket we can't even begin to think of. You only have to look at what they've been doing over the last month. They're 40% up this time last year when it comes to Vitality Blast sales. And I put it down to A, good marketing, but B, quite simply, one young man called Rian Ahmed. And everyone's seen him and gone, do you know what? We want to go and watch him. Because he's a class little actor, is to say the least. Although, as of today, Leicestershire have gone down in my estimation by an absolute mile, because they've signed Peter Hanscom for the first 2 months of the season to warm him up for the Ashes.
There's a bit of that going on with Steve Smith going down to Sussex, isn't he?
Yeah, and ironically, they'll play against each other on May the 11th. It'll be Leicestershire versus Sussex when Steve Smith comes to Leicester. Not that I've got that date in my diary for any reason, obviously. Sandpaper will be all over the place, I can guarantee it. And there might be a big crowd there. It'll be Leicester versus Sussex that day. Hanscom one side, Smith on the other.
Amazing. The other thing that I thought was interesting from this grand development at Leicester is they kind of, and I guess if you've got an ex-football CEO there, but you look at what football stadiums are doing or how things are going to the next level, it's this multi-use thing, isn't it? And I think, the new Grace Road is not just going to be a cricket stadium. They are going to have all kinds of things going on there. And a bit like with what they did at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where, it was purpose-built to have American football, boxing, concerts and all the rest of it. Is this the way, do you think, that county cricket clubs should now be thinking to ensure their survival is to be more along those lines?
Well, I think Derbyshire are doing a little bit of that in some degree. They have some really good pop concerts there. They've had Michael Bublé, they've got The Who going this year. So they're using that to engage a bit more and build the revenue. So, I think it's got to happen. I'm not sure. The trouble with cricket is that people are so sacrosanct about the squares, aren't they? Is that? I mean, I had a good comment to me the other day. He said, "What about their groundsman?" And he said, "Our groundsman's great. He just doesn't like kids playing cricket. He doesn't like adults playing cricket, and he doesn't like any form of cricket on the square." Absolutely. And I just thought that summed it all up, really. And I just wonder if there's a bit of that with cricket in Australia. You've got, playing Aussie rules football in Sydney Cricket Ground and Melbourne, whatever, and it just doesn't seem to matter. But in this country, with the the weather and the way that the squares are done. There's maybe a bit of that in it, but I hope they could get over that.
Yeah, I think what's interesting, and you guys are very close to a very similar ground at Chelmsford, where Grace Road and Chelmsford are right plumb dunk in residential areas, and it's about what you can do around it is the issue, isn't it? And we see great things down at the Rose. Is it called the Aegeus Bowl now down at Hampshire?
Oh yeah, good question.
Yeah, was the Rose Bowl originally, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they built this out of town, and everyone hated it because they all had to pile on out of town and drive out. But actually, it's done all right. So it's a balancing act between the two. And I think what Leicestershire are looking at is that community side of bringing that all together. Bear in mind, within, I'm going to say 2 or 3 square miles of there, you've got Grace Road, Leicester, you've got Welford Road, Rugby, and you've got the football ground at the King Power. So they've got a massive...
Yeah, don't forget the rugby as well, Ian. Did you say?
Yeah, got a massive audience there, massive audience around them. And it will be interesting to see how clubs develop that right across the country. I know Chelmsford have got exactly that same issue in terms of how do they develop it further. But then I think Chelmsford under the lights on a Friday night is as good as anywhere in the country, to be frank, isn't it?
Oh my God, yeah. Because again, there with Chelmsford, we've had a few people come on the podcast that have sort of talked about playing there and what an in-your-face place it is, because the crowd's so close, and they seem to arrive having prepared.
There's only two Friday night matches in the season that are better than a Friday night at Chelmsford, in my opinion, and that's the Lancashire-Yorkshire derbies at Headingley and Old Trafford. And I've been privileged enough to go to both of them, being a Scouser and a Lancastrian, that I've always been up there. But also, I've been to Headingley for a T20. I went a few years ago when Lancashire and Yorkshire tied on the last ball. And what was phenomenal was it was the hottest day I've been at Headingley in a long time. And when I turned up around about 5:45, I think I was one of 25 Lancashire fans amongst the whole place. And everyone had been down on the beer since about midday. The place was absolutely bouncing before they even bowled the ball, and it ended up on the last ball tie. Yeah. You can't beat that, can you?
No, that's great. I couldn't do that anymore. God, my days are...
Well, I wish, yeah.
I was driving.
Not without a lie down somewhere through the afternoon. And...
Absolutely, without a shadow. What are you guys looking forward to this evening in particular?
Maybe you can go first.
What I'm looking forward to, well, as the chairman, the season never ends, does it? So, it's constant wheel. This time of year, I'm always looking forward to the start. Just seeing the boys getting back out on the pitch, getting the crack back in the bar, and seeing the whole club. And we're a big club. We run 6 Saturday sides.
Wow.
I listened with great pride on your behalf about your colt story. We have about 350 colts on our books, so pretty well established. And obviously seeing some of those younger lads and girls coming through and playing adult cricket is always good to see. We're always excited about the first 11. We want to make sure that we're doing well and we're winning cups and winning leagues and all that lovely stuff. But yeah, it's always this time of year. It's always very exciting. Looking forward to it. If you ask me that again in August, I'll be telling you how much I'm looking forward to the end of the season.
You want your holiday then?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
sick of the sight of everybody by then, aren't you?
Did you pick up on something there, Mars? I don't know if it was me, but I talked to the lads at Hornchurch the other day. Everyone down south calls these juniors colts.
Yeah, we don't use that, do we? We don't use that.
We don't use that, do we?
No, we don't. It's yeah.
What do you call them, juniors?
Just juniors.
Yeah. Juniors and seniors.
Okay, yeah. There we go.
We never say how many kids. We never say how many colts we got. It's how many kids you got.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I think that's why they've got 350, because they call them colts and they all feel better about themselves.
Well, on that bombshell, I think we're going to end it. So yes, we've found cultural differences across the country. Let us know what you think. Do you agree, if you're involved with a club in the north or the south, the Midlands, wherever? Do you call them colts? Do you call them kids? Do you call them juniors, or you just call them something we can't mention on this program? But get in touch. Let us know in the comments. Ian and Mars, it's been absolutely fantastic having you along. And many thanks. We encourage everyone to listen and subscribe to their podcast, the excellently named Stumps, Umps and Beer Pumps. And I think we'll have to invite them down to come and
got to be done Friday
maybe
night.
Have a friendly, but just come and.
We'd be more than happy to do. We really would look forward to that. To be honest
Absolutely.
with you, we're trying to expand our reach, so that'll be fantastic.
We'll get on the case for that, definitely. Okay, guys, many thanks for joining us, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
Cheers, gents.
Top stuff. Thanks, lads. Cheers.